Munchkins, I hope you are doing great. In today's video, we are going to check how to create a present in Spanish. It's not that hard, to be honest. After this video, you are going to understand better, and then you are going to realize that it's not super hard. Okay? I want to remind you that I have my website, so if you are interested in taking Spanish lessons, you can go. I'm gonna leave the link here in the description and you can book your lessons, okay? And another thing is, if you don't want to take lessons but you consider that I do a great job teaching Spanish and you want to support my work, you can also get click the other link that is going to say buy me a coffee, and you can just give me a donation, whatever you want. And I think that's all, and let's start. So right now you are going to see a chart. We have 4 lines. One is going to be the pronouns, the other one you are going to see the ending AR, the other one is going to be ER, and finally IR, okay? That chart has all the endings that we're going to need. I recommend you to do a screenshot of this picture and then print it. With that, you are going to have the endings, and it's going to be way easier every time when you have to conjugate every verb. Okay, so let's start with the first line, that is AR. So in Spanish, we have the regular and irregular verbs, okay? The irregular mean that they are going to have to change, and so you just have to learn it, okay? There are some rules because some of them, they do not change like completely, just like probably they just maybe 2 pronouns or sometimes just 1 pronoun. But to be honest, the best way to do this is just to practice them and use them, okay? So this class is going to be for mostly the regular ones. And we say that the first one, it was AR, okay? This is the ending. So when a verb ends with this ending, we are going to say that all the verbs ending with AR, ER, or IR, they are going to be known as infinitive, okay? They are not conjugated. So we're going to have, I'm going to work with three. Cantar, caminar, enseñar. Okay? Cantar, it's going to be sing, caminar, walk, and enseñar, to teach. So, as in our chart that we check, we have the endings. So, I say that for yo, it's going to be O, tú, él, and ella, it's going to be the same. Nosotros, it's going to be nos, and ellos, and ustedes. Sorry, I forgot the A. Okay, so what's gonna happen? How are we gonna create this? Well, it's actually really easy. These ones belong to this one, so these are the prepositions, the endings, we have to use. The only thing we have to do is erase the ending, this AR. Yeah, just that. And then we're gonna add these endings. That's all you have to do. So in here, if I want to say I sing, it will be yo canto. Super easy. If I want to say you walk, tú caminas. If I want to say she teaches, ella enseña. Okay, as you can see, it's not that hard, but the hard thing, it's actually when you have to talk and remember that. But I'm going to give you a tip at the end. So this is all what we have to do with all this, okay? Pretty simple. Okay, one thing. Remember that in Spanish, we skip a lot the pronouns. So normally, you are going to hear that people say just canto. So for example, canto una canción. I sing a song. I'm not using the pronoun. You can use it. It doesn't mean that it's not correct. Actually, it's correct. And when we write, like formal, we have to use it. But we skip it. And the reason why we skip it is because almost everyone has an ending, different ending. So it's pretty clear when I'm talking about me, because the ending O, it's just gonna be for me, yeah? So that's why if you say canto, people totally understand that you are talking about you, yeah? So, yo canto, tú caminas, o caminas todos los días, you walk every day. Ella enseña en una escuela, o enseña en una escuela. She teaches in school. Yeah, this is the first one. Siguiente is going to be ER. Exactly the same. We just erase this ending. And then we add these endings, okay? As you can see, some of them changed. Like, yo, it's still the O, but this one's, oh, sorry. We had another one, okay? In the other one, we have AS, A, AMOS, AN. And in here, it's going to be E, okay? So, yo como, tú corres. Nosotros aprendemos. I eat, you run, we learn. Yeah? And the last one. And the last one, it's gonna be, IR. Okay? So we have vivir, to live, dormir, to sleep, and reír, to laugh. Okay? The endings are gonna be these ones. So these ones are really similar to the other ones. As you can, if you check the entire chart, you are gonna see that the only thing that changed is in here. The other one, it was hemos, and this one is gonna be imos. Yeah? And let's follow the rules. We erase the ending, great, and then we add. So now I'm gonna say nosotros vivimos. Ellos ríen. Okay, this one is an interesting one, and this one. So these two are the ones that I told you that some of them are a little bit irregular. Because, for example, reír, it's gonna change and it's gonna be ri. Instead of re, it's gonna be ri. So ríen. Okay, this one is a little bit irregular. The ending is the same, but the root is gonna change, okay? And it's gonna be río, ríe, ríe. The only one that is gonna survive with this one is gonna be reímos. Reímos, ríen. Yeah? And you can think like part of this is probably the pronunciation, because, for example, with this ones, it's gonna sound super weird if we use this one. It's gonna be rees, reen, okay? So we have ri. And we use it in all of them except for we. We laugh, it's reímos, and the other ones is gonna be with this, okay? This is part of the pronouns that are a little bit irregular. And dormir, it's the same. So it's gonna change and it's gonna be duerm. Okay? So with all of them except for nosotros. Nosotros is gonna be dormimos. The rest is gonna be duerm. Yo duermo, tú duermes, él duerme, nosotros dormimos, ellos duermen. Yeah? These ones are a little bit irregular. Like the ending is not irregular, but the root it's gonna change. Okay, these have all the endings, okay? You can see that, for example, yo, it's gonna always end with O. That's gonna be always, okay? Then the other ones, tú, it's gonna end with an S. So eventually you are gonna recognize that when the sound ends in an S, it's gonna be for you. This one always ends with either E or A. Amos, hemos, imos. This one is the only one that is going to change for each group. and then an, or an. Okay? Remember that the previous endings do not apply to some verbs. Look at the following verbs. We have a chart with 5 verbs: tener, hacer, ir, ser, y estar. These verbs are really important in Spanish. We use them a lot, okay? And focus on tener and hacer. You can see how the first person, yo, change. In tener, they add a letter that it wasn't there. It's not related. In hacer, they switch. Instead of having that C, we have the G, okay? So those verbs change for the first person. And then tener also is going to change his root, okay? From ten to tien, okay? So tengo and tenemos are a little bit similar, but the other ones, the root is different. And then we have the last three, ir, ser, and estar, and they are totally irregular, okay? You have to have that in mind. In the beginning, you're going to think that it's going to be really hard with the ones that are totally irregular, but because these ones we use them a lot, if you practice them, eventually you are going to memorize them and you're not going to have any problem with them. Okay? It's not that hard to understand, I know, but to talk it's a little bit harder. So what's going to be my advice? Okay, so normally what I do with my students, I tell them to do a chart. So I recommend you to go to Excel, design a chart that has all the pronouns from this side and the endings, or what I normally do is like I write, for example, on top, like different verbs, like the ones that we check, or for example, I start with the ones that are irregular but also super really important, like ser, estar, tener, okay? And what I ask them is to fill these charts, okay? So you are gonna write the conjugation of each, okay? And you are gonna have those pictures somewhere where you can see them to try to remember them. Don't do it everything in the computer and then print it, because it's interesting, but you are not gonna get that as good as if you write it, okay? Because also some of these are gonna use accents, and accents are super really important in Spanish. So I hardly recommend you to print it just like this and fill, okay, all the spaces. You have to write it. It's an advice. You can do whatever you want, of course, but it's an advice, and I feel like it's going to be really helpful for you, because I did this. Like, all the tips I'm giving you is because that's the way I actually help myself to learn other languages, and it was really helpful. So that's one thing. Another thing, so we already know how to do the present, but the question is like, okay, so when do I use it? And people is going to say, well, obviously, like the same way we use it in English. Well, yes, but not just like that. In English, you have the ing form that you love for everything. And a lot of times, that has a meaning of future, okay? I'm going to the beach at 5. And if you are just starting to learn Spanish, you are gonna want to translate this exactly the same way, because we also have this form. And guess what? You are gonna be totally wrong, because we don't speak in the same way. What we do is we are gonna do it in present. And because you have the time, and it means that it's later, you know that it's not happening now, okay? So, yo voy a la playa a las 5. ¿Ok? it's normal present, the present that I just teach you, okay? That's how we talk. This is, for example, the time, but sometimes people say like, okay, tomorrow I'm running with some friends. Well, we are not going to use the progressive either. We are going to use mañana voy a correr con unos amigos, okay? It's all in present. When you want to use this, and when you use this in English and you want to use it in Spanish, you have to use either the present form, the normal present, or the going to form. But that's going to be another video, okay? So, I think that's probably everything. And eventually, for example, what you are gonna need, and I'm gonna be making videos of that, is the meaning of verbs. Because sometimes some verbs are really hard to understand because have different meanings in Spanish and in English. So I'm gonna have those verbs, okay? But this was how to make the present. Right now, you are gonna be able to talk in present, even if you don't think so. It's super easy. So another tip that I'm gonna give you, and I force my students to do this every time, it's you have to write, okay? So if you really wanna learn, the best way in the beginning, because it's really hard for you to actually try to start a conversation, and more if you don't have anyone to talk, it's writing, okay? So I recommend you to write some questions, easy questions that you would like to answer. And if you just know how to make present, just focus on present, okay? So you write the questions and then you try to answer those questions, okay? And then you can write, for example, your routine or something that you need to use present. So you are helping yourself to start learning vocabulary, also how to use these tenses. Because like, as you can see, like I teach you this in like a couple of minutes, easy. But it doesn't mean that after this video you're going to talk present perfect. Of course not, because you have to practice. So that's why I'm giving you these tips. Do those charts, fill all of them, use the verbs that you use more, and then start writing. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You write a story, it doesn't matter. The important thing is you write, so you start. And eventually that's gonna help you, because when you have the chance to talk with someone, you're gonna feel more confident, because you already are gonna know how to use the verb to be. And even if you use it with some preposition, but it's not perfect, it doesn't matter, but because at least right now you are able to match the pronoun with the conjugation, okay? So I think that that's everything. Remember this, I created this video not just to teach you how to do this one, but also because I made another video that it was about the difference between me, and when to use yo. And in that one I was talking about how you can differentiate the conjugation just by listening, because the endings, and that's why I did this video. So that's all. Remember, if you wanna book your lesson, you can do it through my website, or you can just donate something for to help me to hire someone so they can help me editing my videos, and I can create more content for you. And I will see you in the next class. Bye, munchkins.